title of Girl? After watching the film, it made me have to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, part of that was, you know, this person wrestling with, you know, I suppose the diminutive version of themselves, you know, and discovering that who they were in the eyes of her father, which was, of course, another alternate title could have been daughter or something. But it was this idea of this, like, you know, who she was in the eyes of her father, and this story of maturation, you know. And obviously, you know, from what I know, like from my wife, you know, many women have a unique relationship to that word, just as a man have a unique relationship to the word boy. You know, it's complicated, and this whole movie was about identity and how she sees herself. And so it was, the story is about her growth from viewing herself as one thing into viewing herself as something, you know, more mature.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is your directorial debut. You've done short films, right? But this is like full-on film. What encouraged you just to do it, and how challenging was that?
Oh, it's like a small miracle, I think, when a film gets made at all, let alone like living up to its potential, you know, which hopefully this does. It's, you know, I've been writing and producing a lot of other projects, and this was the first one that I just said, okay, no, this is my baby. If anyone's gonna screw it up, it's gonna be me. And you know, I took that plunge and went into meetings saying this is how it's going to be, and you know, it's like a take it or leave it scenario. And thankfully, these folks took it, and you know, took a chance on me, and you know, I hope it paid off for them.
Yeah, I mean, and then not only that, you wrote it, directed, and you're in it. And as for Charmer, I mean, I say great job, because your character was scary, was creepy, and it was like you hate him, but I'm like, God, it was great. What made you want to?
Thanks.
Did you have in mind to have someone else?
Yeah, we had explored other people, and it was, you know, I was a little bit afraid that the character would get diminished into sort of just one of those things you said, you know, just the creepy guy or just the charming guy, and not have this sort of strange cocktail of these things. Where like, I kind of, you know, I don't know how to feel about this person, and I was always afraid of that. And honestly, no one was sort of jumping on it. I think maybe because they saw it as one thing or the other, and just didn't see that it was meant to be this, you know, strange, you know, hybrid creature. So there became a point in the process where, for financial reasons, it actually made sense for me to play the role because of the Canadian content rules. And, you know, I wasn't sure if anyone was going to be down with it as a first-time director, also playing such a large role. But these producers, my hat's off to them. They took incredible risks upon me, and you know, I'm just so grateful that they did.
For your character, there were moments where I was like, he's gonna turn around, right? He'd be like, I'm kidding, or something. It was like that smart ass added persona too.
Yeah, exactly. I was always thinking him as the younger brother in everybody's life. You know, that little brat brother that you love, but God, he keeps destroying everything in your life. But yeah, you can't get mad at him because he's like, you know, like it's like you can't get mad at your cat, you know, or your dog. It's you still love them, and so it's a very hard challenge to pull that off. But because I knew the DNA of this character so well, I knew I could find it. I just wasn't sure if anybody else would see it, you know.
Well, that was a smart move, I have to say.
Thanks for that.
Which one of the scenes were you looking forward to filming? Seeing it and
you know, yeah, I mean, I guess to answer your question, this is the laundromat scene where, you know, for me that held the whole film in one scene. That's what was trying to say. It's the most to the core, sort of all, reflective of the whole scene, where, you know, you never know who is who until you do, and then everything kind of keeps flipping. And the whole idea, and to go back to your first question of why was it called Girl, another reason for that is that everybody in this town, therefore in this film, was sort of in the beginning stereotypical, if not archetypal, and then eventually you get to see them for being much more than that. So that you start off with this idea of like, you know, the girl, the sheriff, the charmer, the mechanic, you know, and one by one you start to see that there is a beating heart behind that person. There's a complexity, and I was trying to really draw that out because we see that in our world today. It's so easy to think we understand everybody, you know, they're this, they are that, and you know, until you really know somebody and, you know, live with them for a while, you really have no idea who you're dealing with. And this whole town and our main character goes through that sort of journey, and hopefully the audience goes through that journey as well as they get to know these people.
That was actually one of my favorite scenes. You had a lot going on. I mean, a way to introduce your character. How is it, because you're directing the film, but you're in the, you know, that's one of the main themes.
Yes, exactly. And I wish we had had twice the time to shoot that. I think we did that all in we did that whole scene in a day, which is just crazy. I mean, that should have been like 2 or 3 days probably. But, and as a result, there's like, you know, we just didn't have quite enough footage. So like the way it's edited, we had to sort of embrace, you know, some choppiness in the action, because it's just, it's all we had time to shoot. It was crazy. So, you know, that was a little later in the shoot, which I did by design. I said, I just, you know, I kind of rigged it so that I didn't have to do much heavy lifting as an actor in the first week. I think that was actually in the second week that we shot that. We did this whole film in 14 days, which is absurd.
14 days?
Absurd. Yes. The only reason it worked was Bella was a first take actor, which, bless her heart, her first take was always the best. We did a second as a safety and we'd move on. And the other reason was our cinematographer, Christopher Bonnell, was just an absolute beast. Most of these lighting setups he did in 15 minutes. And, you know, we shot handheld most of the time just because that's all we had time for. And, you know, we also did 2 cameras. So we had a steady cam operating at the same time, but it's the only way it worked. And by that point, he and I were just kind of, we actually literally lived together throughout the shoot, just because it was the only way, and drove to set together. It was the only way that we prepped in those spaces. And then by the time we got to set, we'd go. And I'd always planned to like watch playback when I was acting, but there just wasn't time. So I just had to trust that everything was working.
Well, what a way to work under pressure.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And I do it all over again. That's what's insane.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. And what about for the actors? I mean, you mentioned right now, you know, you've had Bella, but then you also had like Mr. Rourke. I mean, what a great actor.
Yeah, he was always one of my favorites, you know. I mean, even as recently as, of course, as The Wrestler, was just, you know, he brings something so authentic that, you know, others don't.
So how was it getting the cast, though? How did you know they were the ones for the film? And how did you know Bella was the one for Girl?
Yeah, so I had originally met Bella, gosh, I think about 4 years ago, when I was working with different producers. And when I met her, I mean, I was doing like the Chateau Marmont shuffle and just meeting everybody at that time, every young actress in LA. And so many of these people, it would have been such a stretch for them. We had to really discover the character. And that's what I thought I wanted, was sort of that, you know, Jennifer Lawrence, Winter's Bone kind of thing, where you think, oh, I've never, you know, this is such a unique, you know, character this person developed. And then as soon as I met Bella, I thought, wow, there's no need to develop. It's here. And then I realized, oh, this is actually going to be, you know, just truly authentic and beautiful. Looks like there's some internet connection. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, so it took me a while to kind of repackage the film and bring her back on. And we did that, and then once it was her, I just kept thinking of Mickey. I thought Bella Thorne, Mickey Rourke, that's marketing genius. You know, I just think the combo of them is so fascinating. And then secondly, the two of them for the world made sense to me. I knew that it was going to be all about just bringing their authentic beings to the role, and not, you know, had this been, you know, Ralph Fiennes and Haley Steinfeld or something, it would have been like this totally, you know, I guess more stylized film, because they would be bringing, you know, they would have to have put all this on. So I just knew it, as soon as I knew it was them, I knew what film I was making.
Great. Definitely enjoyed your film, and thank you for talking about it. And like I said, I think you're going to be one of the favorite characters of the film, because you were one of mine.
Thanks, Nancy. Appreciate that.
Sometimes you just kind of go for that one because you're like thinking there's like a changed personality, like you're thinking they're going to turn it around, and that's what you transmitted, and for your character. I mean, the nickname Charmer, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, again, it's like how he views himself. It's like it's totally inaccurate, or at least not complete.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, and everyone else will be watching this November 20th.
Thanks, Nancy.
All right.
Appreciate you giving some attention to the film.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, you too. Bye.